I am Mr. Mistopheles, joined by none other than L.I. Joe, and welcome to the very first debut episode of Casuals. Thank you so much for joining me today, Joe. How are you doing?
I'm good. What's going on, everybody?
Yes, doing good, and I could not be happier to have you here with me today. Again, thank you so much for that.
Yeah, dude, no problem at all. You got it.
First things first, if you wouldn't mind, give us a little bit of history about your time in the scene. You know, I know you've been around for a while, right?
Ooh, I'm an old man, dude.
Hey, I'm not far behind you.
Geez. All right. Well, I mean, how far back you want to go? Let's just make a disclaimer. How far back you want to go?
Well, I guess
give me an age bracket. Start like I don't know.
I guess so. What was your first fighting game that you started to like take seriously? And when did you finally realize like, oh, I'm pretty good, maybe I should start, you know, like competing?
Unfortunately, that's very, very long time ago. So I'll try and make this as brief as possible so I don't bore nobody with my old stories. But I think honestly, the first fight, I remember playing Street Fighter 2 and like I remember when Championship Edition came out. Like I remember seeing the marquee of the boss characters and it's saying you can pick 2 Ryus. It blew my mind. Craziest thing in the world. But the first game I remember like wanting to be really good at was actually Mortal Kombat 1. Was probably the game where I was like I wanted to be good at.
Yeah.
And then after that, like I think competition wise, like actually competing, I wasn't old enough because MK1 came out when I was 7 years old or something like that. Yeah. 7. So I wouldn't necessarily consider that like me being competitive at 7.
Sure.
I would probably say like Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3 was when like I used to go to places to play people because I heard that they were good.
Right.
Like,
okay.
Yeah, my dad would take me to arcades. So I guess it was like that's kind of like the start of the real competitive Joe. But the game, so you're talking like 1997.
Damn.
But I remember playing.
Yeah.
Actually, no. Yeah. I think UMK3 came out in 97, 96 or 97.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
I was playing, like, I remember when Fatal Fury came out. Like,
right.
Fatal Fury.
Yeah.
Like, I remember when Street Fighter 2 came out and Championship Edition. And, like, I was going to arcades around that time. But so I would say probably around, like, 96, 97 is probably, like, the real, holy shit, I want to beat people. And I'm actually pretty good at fighting games, I guess.
Right, so that was the breakthrough. And for those people who might only recognize you from Street Fighter, you have like a storied history of being very good at UMK3, right? Like you are kind of a humble guy from what I've known, but like you are absolutely like, at one time you were like probably one of the best in the country, right?
Yeah, probably for a little bit. It's always hard for me to say like if I'm the best.
Sure.
I don't know who's on the, you know, like.
No, talk your shit, dude. You're goated. You're too sick. They're not seeing you. Who do you play, by the way?
There could be some dude in Minnesota that'll watch me or something like that.
Right.
I don't know. There was a time where I was pretty good. Where I was beating like some of the players that were notably the best players, and I was beating them. So it's like, well, if he's beating the best player, he's got to be better than the best
pretty
player,
good, right?
Or, like, so he's like one of the best players, right?
Sure.
Yeah, but I have a pretty like a kind of like an unsung or unknown history of playing UMK3. Yeah.
And I think you use Smoke, right? Human Smoke?
Yes, yeah. I use Smoke, yeah.
Okay, yeah, again, super sick character.
Yeah, I could use a couple of characters,
but
like if we're playing in tournament, I usually use Human Smoke, yeah.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, oh yeah, I mean, dude, games back then is like, with no incentive for like esports and like actual balancing, games back then were like so busted. West. Yeah, for sure. Wild West, yeah. You know, interestingly enough, I never played it competitively, but Mortal Kombat was actually like the first fighting game I got really into as well. With Mortal Kombat Trilogy, my brother had an N64, so like as soon as I saw Reptile and like the acid spit, I was like, bruh, he's too sick. He's too godlike.
Yeah, he's a cool ass character too.
And then they've butchered him in the newer games. He's got that. I don't like the humanoid form, like where he's like half reptile, half human. I don't like how it looks. But anyway, so you kind of got your start with MK, and then we transitioned over to Street Fighter. Now again, if I remember correctly, Third Strike seems to have been maybe like the first game that, like the first Street Fighter game that you really took seriously. Is that correct, or maybe am I a little off?
No. You're like kind of like, again, I played like everything from, I swear to God, from 1991 till 2022.
Yes.
Like I've
and for another 50 years.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I've played everything, but I think the game where I started to get, I think Third Strike was actually the game that was the one that made me be a little bit more known for.
Okay.
That's when I was a little bit older and I was able to travel. Like my mom would let me out of the house to travel. So I would travel for Third Strike. Like I would go to tournaments with Justin in DC and we would go to every single Big E tournament possible. It was around the Third Strike, Guilty Gear, Accent Core.
Oh, sure, right.
Yeah, it was when we did a lot of traveling. Like 2003, 2006 or something along those lines was like a heavy Third Strike era. But yeah, I think that's probably the game that initially got me more. I hate using the word recognition, but I guess recognition. Like it's probably like the Third Strike era. Yeah.
And who, if I remember correctly, I think you were a Ken main, right? Yeah.
I use Ken and Urian. Like I'll use Urian in casuals. Like he's my favorite character in Third Strike, but I was just never good enough to use him at that level.
He's hard in that game.
Yeah, it's really hard. So, and just Ken was just kind of easy.
That, you heard it here first, folks. I didn't say it. He put it out there. For anybody who's trying to claim that they're, the epitome of honest characters using Ken, you might not be on that side of things.
he's like fundamentally honest. Like when you look at characters like Yun and
of course,
and Urian and Makoto, there's like he's fundamentally honest compared to other characters, but he's still easy and really good.
Yeah, fair enough. Okay, yeah, that's good to know. That's good to know. Because again, a lot of people recognize you from the Street Fighter 4 era, and obviously, your historic, legitimately legendary run in Street Fighter 6, the very first year at EVO, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But it's cool to give people kind of a background on you as a person. Because if they haven't watched your streams, for a lot of people coming into the scene, it's really easy to have maybe missed out on that and not really understand, that you do have this history in other games and you've been around for a long time. So this position that you've earned being kind of, frankly, again, a pillar, I think, maybe you might be modest enough that you wouldn't want it to call it that, but it's very much the truth.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course. Okay, so now we've talked a little bit about your history in the scene, and we will talk about the present and the future in a little bit, but now I want to take things a little bit of a different direction and talk about stuff outside of fighting games. Obviously, you are a person, and you're on social media. You tend to talk a lot about movies. You talk a lot about music, and also like you seem to be very much into culinary arts. You really like to bake and cook.
I do.
So I have a few questions. So,
yeah, dude. Absolutely.
Number one, when we were DMing the other day talking about this, you were saying that you were getting ready to set up for a Christmas party at your work. I'm curious, for the holidays, what is your favorite Christmas food?
My favorite Christmas food? So here's the thing. Like a lot of people, I know that they're going to say this is a Thanksgiving thing, but sometimes, like their turkey is also served on Christmas.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Yeah. I'm a big turkey fan.
Oh, okay.
So I actually don't really I'm Italian, so the whole seven fishes thing, like, I'm not trying to hear that. I'm not trying to hear that seven fishes shit. Just give me some turkey, and I'm good.
Okay.
I'm good.
Now, how do you like your turkey?
I'm a turkey guy, yeah.
How do you like it, though?
White meat, obviously moist, not too dry.
Yeah.
But I'm a white meat turkey guy. Like, I'm a fan.
Do you like it smoked or broasted?
Either is fine.
Either? Okay, gotcha.
Yeah,
gotcha. All right. So what about sweets when it comes to Christmas or holiday time? Dude, I'm telling you right now, I wish I lived near you because I see you posting all these confections.
Dude, I love sweet shit.
Creme brulee and like pies and shit, and I'm like, bro, I'm so jealous. So what's your favorite? You have to pick one. Gun to your head, you have to pick one.
So if we're having a sweet thing, we're talking like dessert-ish kind of thing, right? Not like a piece of candy. We're talking dessert, right?
Yes.
Okay. I would certainly have to say the apple pie that I make. That's actually my mom's recipe.
Oh,
so
and I'm sure it's the best.
Recipe,
the goat.
Yeah. And it's that. If there was a second place, I would probably say creme brulee. But if there's like a dinner dessert, like creme brulee is not really that's like I went out to a fancy place.
Yes, right.
Dessert.
Right.
But if you're talking about like a wholesome home cooked meal slash dessert, I would certainly say the apple pie that I make 100%.
Now, what makes yours stand out compared to everybody else's?
Honestly, it's hard to. I don't want to poop on anybody else's recipe,
but nobody's touching you, dude. Nobody's touching you.
Everybody thinks the same thing. Like if you say, "Yo, my grandma's sauce is the best," I'm gonna be like, "No, my grandma's sauce is the best." Yeah, that's not how this works. So, you know what it is? It's really just it's what I had as a kid. It's the same thing.
Of course.
Everyone has the food that they have as a kid, and it just it triggers this thing in your brain that it's not only the taste, but it's that nostalgia of dude, I remember being 4 years old and eating this shit, you know. So like, but I can't pinpoint anything. I just think that, all right, so if you want to get technical, I don't like when you bite into apple pie and the apples are like crunchy still. Them shits have to be soft.
So you want it mushy,
Apples. I don't want to say mushy, soft. Like they have to be soft.
Sure.
Yeah,
okay.
Have to be soft. And the way I don't slice them thin, I kind of cut them into like eighths. So they're like about the size of an eighth of an apple.
Yeah, so it's chunky. Yeah. It's chunky.
Yeah. It's chunky, but it's soft. Yeah. So use a certain kind of apple. I can't tell you. I have to kill you. So I can't tell you the kind of apple.
Of course. Can't divulge the secret sauce.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I hope you guys are taking notes in the chat. He's letting you know how to make the god tier apple pie. Make sure that your dishes at holidays will stand out. So next question I have is, again, still Christmas and holiday related. What's your favorite Christmas movie?
My favorite Christmas movie. Are we talking? Okay, so seriously, Christmas favorite movie is honestly National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation.
Oh, it's
big fan of that movie. After that, probably Die Hard, because Die Hard's a Christmas movie.
Absolutely, yes. And if you are trying to argue otherwise, you're just flat out wrong. It is absolutely a classic, and I like the National Lampoon's answer. It's a classic movie as well.
I really like National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. That's a good one for me.
Yeah, and definitely like a product of your childhood growing up. Like you were in that era, right? You know.
Yep.
That makes a lot of sense. Me personally, I like Nightmare Before Christmas. That's my favorite movie of all time, but I also love that movie as a Christmas movie. Talked about Christmas a little bit. I also know that you are a huge fan of horror. Huge fan. And this is something that resonates with me. I'm a huge horror fan as well. So keeping on the idea of movies, and again, trying to give people the ability to get to know you a little bit more on a personal level outside of just fighting games and video games. I'm actually going to ask for your favorite, like, I will say obscure horror movie, because I know, like, you're a huge fan of the classic slasher flicks. You really like Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
There's a Halloween thing right here.
Yeah, exactly, yes.
See right there?
He is dedicated.
Halloween art right there. You can't really see it, but it's a Halloween 1 art. It's right there.
That's so godlike. So so obscure horror movie, not in like the obvious mainstream perception.
I would actually say, so there's a French movie, and I talk about it all the time. It's called Martyrs.
Yo, my dude, Martyrs is so good. People don't know.
Martyrs is a banger, man. It is certainly a not an easy movie to watch.
It'll fuck you up.
Yeah, it's not for people that just think they're gonna watch a horror movie. It's a little intense, but probably Martyrs Martyrs might be like one of my top 5 like horror movies I think I've ever seen. Like when I saw that movie, I was like, yo, this is so crazy.
Yeah, you gotta think about it for a while.
Yeah, that is a good ass movie. But probably Martyrs for sure.
Oh, and we should specify, they actually, I'm pretty sure like a few like years ago, they tried to do like an American remake. That shit is trash. Don't watch it. Watch the original.
I didn't watch it. I would never. We're talking about the French version. Yes. French only.
Very good. Very good. I had a question for you. This is just, I guess, between us as horror fans. Did you ever hear about the movie Mad God?
Yeah, that's the movie that looks like all the little...
Yeah, it's like stop motion.
Yeah, I watched it here with a couple of my friends,
What'd you think of it? I just watched it about a month ago.
Cool.
I liked it a lot.
Yeah, I thought it was cool. It was very visually pleasing.
Yes.
Like, it was very impressive to watch,
Yeah. Okay. Man, dude, I gotta tell you, like, it's... I guess horror movies are typically like 50-50, right? It's like either people like absolutely know I'm a scaredy cat, I am not doing that, or like people love it. So being able to talk to somebody that appreciates horror movies on that like very like visceral as well as like artistic integrity level, I appreciate it.
That's another thing. Like I grew up watching that stuff. Like my dad was like, my dad used to actually tell me like, Joe, it's fake. Like he's like, but I wasn't, and I never got scared because he's like, Joe, think about it. It's not real. Like they would be in jail. Like
you can't do this.
Yeah, and I was like, yeah, duh, he's right. It's fake, duh.
As you're cowering behind the covers, of course it's not real.
Like, yeah, it's fake, whatever. And then like I've always, ever since I was a kid, like I've chased that. All right, how extreme can we get here? Like how far can we push the limits of watching a movie? So I still enjoy it till this day.
Yep. Hell, dude, if we are ever in the same spot going to an event and there's a horror movie, we got to link up. It's too good.
For sure.
Okay, so one last horror related question. Do you think that you could survive in a horror movie? And if so, how would you go about surviving? Like let's say
okay,
I'm gonna cut paranormal shit out of it, but it's like a slasher flick. So how do you go about surviving if you could?
I would get in the car and not stop driving.
Okay, so this is just like the very obvious, like, why? First of all, why aren't the people in the script thinking of this?
Yeah. When they say, "Oh shit, what's that noise?" and someone says, "Let's go check it out," I'm like, "Nope, I'm good. You go check it out." Right. I'm out.
Yeah, I'm peacing out of here. No shot. I am not that curious.
Check it out. You're going to check it out.
All right, I respect that. I have a friend, and I maybe kind of share the similar idea where it's like, dude, there are some situations where it's like, bro, if there's a gun nearby, I'm just checking out, man. I'm not even dealing with it.
Yeah, I'm not even gonna bother with it.
Nope, I totally get it. Okay, so talk about that. Next thing I want to talk about, again, I know you are a huge collector and fan of hoodies. You really like, you love, I'm assuming it's like the comfort, as well as you really like to rep, like, you know, bands you like, merchandise you like, you know, whether it's from like games or whatever. Do you have a favorite hoodie?
I don't think
like number one.
I honestly, it's hard for me to say that I have a favorite hoodie. Like, it really depends. Like, I don't know. That would be like, I don't think I have a favorite hoodie. I probably have, actually, so I can say a hoodie that I wear a lot is actually the Bait. I have a Bait hoodie that has Ryu on the pocket
tight.
Right here. Yeah, I wear the Bait hoodie a lot. Yeah, it's like, it's a good size. It fits well. But I do wear the Bait hoodie a lot.
And that one's like, it's got like the classic Street Fighter 2 sprite, right? Yo, what do we got? Oh, yes, sir. Yep, that classic Hadoken. My brother. Yeah, there it is. That's hyper fighting, I think. Godlike. And if you guys haven't, check out Bait's store. They make really great merch. Oh yeah, it's so comfy. I actually have at Evo, I think in like 2017, they had a shop there and they were selling the Akuma Windbreaker jacket with the kanji on the back. I bought that. Yeah, it's so tight. Yeah, if you guys haven't, check out Bait's store. They sell super dope stuff, anime, fighting games, regular games, all sorts of stuff. It's really cool. So we will consider that being your answer for the favorite.
Sure. Yeah, I wear that hoodie a lot. Yeah.
So I guess next what I'd like to ask is, again, this is still outside of the realm of fighting games, but like outside of, you know, Street Fighter 6, Tekken 8, what game currently are you looking forward to the most? That's like been announced, yeah.
Like actual game, I mean, obviously I'm a pretty big Dark Souls fan.
Yes,
there's a ton of Dark Souls shit behind me right here. I'm a big Dark Souls fan. So honestly, anything that company does, I'm like automatically like, oh, this is gonna be sick.
Armored Core.
Obviously, yeah, Armored Core. I'm an old man, so I played Armored Core 1 and 2. Like I have a memory of not liking 3 but playing 4 a little bit, but really liking 2. I remember being like, yo, this game is awesome. But like Armored Core is actually pretty cool. I mean, again, I'm old, so Diablo 4 is like, I cannot. And the fact that Diablo 4 is coming out the same technically the same day as Street Fighter 6 is honestly the worst thing that's ever happened to me. Well, it's not even a joke. Like, I think about this sometimes and I get stressed. Like, I feel anxious. I'm like, oh my God.
You got to take a seat.
Me out. It really stresses me out.
We do have to be honest here, Joe. You do live in the East Coast. You do live near mom and pop stores. So the likelihood of you, I don't know, maybe a truck gets into an accident on the freeway and it just so happens a copy of Street Fighter 6 lands on the road as you're driving by, I think is probably pretty high.
That's honestly kind of how it happens in Manhattan, just like that.
That's what I've heard.
It's like, oh shit, Street Fighter 6 is on the floor. In the
Weird. Okay.
That's kind of how it happens.
All right, so Armored Core is probably the game outside of, you know, Street Fighter 6, Tekken 8 that you're looking forward to the most. I'm very excited for the game as well. I've been wishing for FromSoft to make a new Tenchu game. We kind of got that with Sekiro. You know, it's a bit, but it's more in the Souls vein. But I don't know if we'll ever get that back.
Yeah.
Okay, so I've actually had a couple people in the chat ask specifically, mentioning that you are into metal, hardcore, post-hardcore, metalcore, all that kind of stuff. If you were to recommend, let's say 3 bands, three bands that are like super heavy hardcore bands that you're super into, who would they be?
Number 1, I'm wearing the Windbreaker. This is like one of my favorite bands that, like, I saw these guys like 5 years ago or something like that. I saw them like 5 years ago, and really crazy story that actually goes into fighting games. So I went to an Incendiary show. That's a hardcore band from Long Island, New York, whatever. So I go to their show. It's their show. And I haven't like been to shows in a while, so I started going to shows again, whatever. So I go see them because I've been a fan of them for a long time, for like 10 years, whatever. So I go see the show, and before they go on, I see a bunch of people, like a bunch of kids wearing like Vane shirts, and I'm like, who are all these people, and why is there so many of them? So then I'm just like chilling on the side watching, and all of a sudden they start playing. And I remember vividly thinking, I have no idea who the singer is, because there were just people on stage grabbing the mic, front flipping on each other.
Hell yeah.
I was like, I don't know who's in the band, because everybody's on stage.
Right.
And dudes are flipping, guys are coming off, guys are going on. And I was just like immediately like entangled in their sound. I was like, oh my God, that was crazy.
Yeah.
So after they played, I'm walking around the floor, just like walking around the venue, like looking for the merch table or whatever. And this dude, his name's Troy. Troy goes, yo, you're L.I. Joe. And I'm like, what? Yeah, this was like 2017. So it was after Evo.
Yeah, sure.
So he's like, yo, you're L.I. Joe. I'm like, yeah, dude. He's like, what are you doing here? I'm like, I listen to this shit, dude. I live like 3 minutes away. Like, this is, I know I don't look like it, or I don't like always walk around wearing, you know, like shirts like that, but I'm very into like heavier music. And Troy goes, yo, what did you just like of that band Vane? I was like, bro, that literally blew my mind. He goes, you have to come with me to the merch booth because they all love you. I'm like,
what?
No. Yeah. So
that's so crazy.
He walks me over to the merch booth, and immediately the singer and the drummer were like and that was it. Like we all became like close friends. I go to their shows all the time. They take me on tour. I've been on like 5 tours with them. I've been to Japan with them. They all play games. They all play Street Fighter. They all like, they're literally me, just way better musicians. They're like, we are like, we laugh at the same shit. We're into the same music. We all play the same games. Dude, on tour, they have a laptop, and they put the laptop in the middle of the driver's seat and the passenger seat, and they just play.
That's so sick.
They send me pictures all the time of them playing Guilty Gear. They play Strive. They play Smash. They all, and it's the coolest thing. It was the coolest, like, accidental / fate-driven relationship ever. And like, I talk to them all the time. Like I said, I go on tour with them all the time. Like, they're the coolest dudes, and like, I'm really there. They affected me before I even knew that they were going to affect me, you know, because like, so when I heard the sound, I was like, yo, who is this? I need to know. This is awesome. And then it just became this awesome friendship. Sorry that was way longer.
Dude, it's a beautiful story.
I thought that was a cool story to share. It really is because of fighting games. It's because they were like, yo, Evo 2016. Oh,
right, popping off.
Yeah. They were like, yo, I was here. We were fucking flipping out. It was mad cool. Like, it was a really, really cool thing. Like I said, they're some of my best friends now, and I talk to them on a daily basis, honestly.
That's amazing.
Yeah, they would certainly be like number one. Trying to think if there is anything else that came. A band called Chamber is a band. I think they're from Nashville, Tennessee. Okay. Band, another, like, I'm trying to give bands that people might not know about. So, you know what I'm saying? So like, I would say, you know, Vane, Chamber, and damn, let me think if there's anything.
Put you on the spot.
Anything like new. I can't think of anything like new right now. But I would certainly say those 2 bands right now are like 2 bands that are like, not newer, but more coming up that people don't really know about.
Yeah, I will say, as a fan of that music, I remember seeing, it was one of the times that you talked about, like, being fortunate enough to taken on tour with Vane, and I had never heard of them, so I was like, oh shit, let me look these dudes up, and I'm hooked, dude. So good.
Yeah, they're so cool, dude. Great dudes, fucking good band. Sick live shows too.
I'm sure. Okay, so I have a couple more music related questions. One, what was the very first show you went to on your own?
The very first show. Now, does it matter if my dad took me there, or does that not count? I was by myself, but I couldn't drive.
Yeah, we'll say that counts. Okay. Yeah, that counts. Okay.
So the first show I actually went to was a hardcore band, a New York hardcore band called Sick of It All and Slayer, were the 2 bands that played the show. Yeah, I was like 13 years old or something.
And
like
he took you?
Dude. My dad took me. Yeah, dude. My dad is
he's the best. He's the best.
My dad is a rogue, bro. He didn't care at all. My dad is a rogue.
Oh my God. I actually have a pretty funny story about this, and thank God my parents didn't let me go. I remember when I was in 8th grade. No, I think it was 8th grade. 8th grade. I was super into Lamb of God at the time.
Nice, I remember.
Super hooked on Lamb of God, and you know, I had friends that were into it, and me and my other friend, shoutouts to Lorenzo, we wanted to go. They were playing in Toledo, Ohio, which is near where I live, and it was like we both tried to convince our parents, like can we go? And they didn't even know who it was. They're like, you can't go to a concert by yourself. Like you're like 13, you can't go by yourself. And thank God they didn't. We would have been killed. We would have been destroyed in the wall of death. We would have gotten broken bones, bloody noses, all that shit. But I remember that.
I actually saw Lamb of God when New American Gospel came out. That was like one of their first records. I saw them in CBGB's before CBGB's closed down.
I've never even heard of that place.
Yeah, CBGB's is like a legendary place in New York. It's closed down now, but like every popular, like talking like old school, like punk hardcore bands, like Ramones, like all that come up stuff. Yeah, I saw them in CBGB's. Bro. Like it was a good time.
I bet. All right, so now my next question, this actually ties into something that I had just mentioned. Have you ever like gotten seriously injured? Because again, the music you like to go and watch tends to be very high energy, high octane, and frankly violent. There's no getting around it. And it's not violence with like malice, really. But yeah, it's just getting that fucking energy out.
Yeah.
Slam, dancing, spin kicks, all that shit. Front flips. Have you ever gotten seriously injured at a show?
Yes.
Okay, what happened? Tell us. We gotta know.
I will say that I'll give you the top 3 injuries I've ever had.
Okay. 3.
I'll tell you
He's got more than one.
I'll give you top 3 because thank the Lord I haven't been hurt for the amount of shows that I've gone to. I haven't been that hurt, but I'll give you top 3 like worst injuries in the bands and where I was. I remember exactly. So, on Long Island there was a venue called the Crazy Donkey. They used to be called. It went from the place called D to the Crazy Donkey, and there was a band there called Life of Agony, which used to be one. They're still one of my favorite bands. They have a famous album called The River Runs Red. Anyway, so they played at this place, and I got kicked in the mouth. Like I got kicked in the mouth, like really, really bad. I wish I had pictures of it. A lot of people that used to go to Chinatown remember because I went there when I had my busted face up. Oh no! And they were like, "Dude, I looked like a different person. Like my lip was like." I swear to God, like it was horrible. Like I got kicked and like this, all this right here was black and blue for probably a month. My lip I swear to God, dude, my lip was like the size of my 2 fingers. Like it looked like this.
Jesus Christ.
My lip was tremendous. It was jacked up.
Yeah.
This isn't in order, but that's one of them. That's one of them. The next injury was actually at This Is Hardcore Fest in 2018. Queensway was playing, and I got targeted. There's a video of it. It was actually on Twitter because, all right, so, you know, I'm standing on the edge, whatever, and all of a sudden I remember looking, I'm watching John from Vane mosh in front of me, and I'm like, oh shit, look at John go. And then this dude hit me in my face. I remember turning to the side and like just being like, I looked over and the guy next to me was like go, and I went like this, and I had blood like all over my whole hand. So I actually went outside to the medical area. I cut my eyelid. He hit me. He cut like the top of my eyelid, and I went to the hospital in Philadelphia and got it like glued together. They put like a little bit of like surgical glue. Was it this side? I don't remember. I think it was this side. I think it was it was this side. And so like I went there and they glued, like put a little bit of this like glue shit on my eyelid over here. Yeah, and I had to like keep my eye like open, like I couldn't close it that much. That you know, it was rough. And a little bit more to that story is I just thought I just took a stray hit, right? Like I'm like, oh, I got hit, whatever. It is what it is. That's what happens when you're there. You gotta kind of be ready for it. Like if that, you know. But there's a video of it that when I got hit, people were posting. They were like, yo, dude, this is you. And you see the dude look to his left and he looks straight and then he just punches me.
Bro.
Like, he just straight up like sucker punched me.
That's so whack. Yeah, what the fuck?
It was fucked up. It was really fucked up.
Hey, if you're that dude watching this, fuck you. You're whack. You're a bum.
Yeah, Dude, we actually found him on Twitter. He
shit! Did you blow him up?
He DM'd me. He DM'd me and was like, dude, I didn't know who you are or who you were, and I was like, dude, I'm like, just don't ever talk to me ever again, and you are lucky that I'm probably the nicest person you're ever going to meet. Like that's really what it said.
That is your version of like the decapitated horse head. Like, bruh, you're gonna get this message. Don't fuck with me. That's crazy.
He was like, dude, I had the guys from Vane. They were like, where is he? They're like, where is he? Like let's find him at a show. Like, we will fucking stomp this dude out. Like, again, dude, it's different if you get hit at a show.
Yeah, an accident. Right.
But the video is very clear. He looks to his left, looks straight, and then he just hits me. Like, the video is super clear. Yeah, but he's a fucking bitch, but whatever.
Yeah, that guy sucks. Fuck him.
Yeah. The next worst one was I actually was on tour with Vane, and I broke my rib at their show and had to
remember
fly
you talking
home
about
with
that.
a broken rib. Yeah. I think I bruised it at one of their earlier shows. There's actually a video of me jumping off the stage when they were playing in like Philadelphia or something, and I'm backstage and like I run up and I grab the singer, I put him in a fucking headlock, and I'm singing with him, and then I run and I jump off the stage, and I remember right after I jumped off the stage, I remember being like, wow, my side kind of hurts, and it hurt for the remainder of the tour. And one of the last shows I was at with them, I remember bending down to like put a water bottle down like this, and I felt it go like I felt it go like, and I was like,
oh no.
And then they started playing, and I was like going nuts. And then after, I sat outside. And
Joe,
yes,
you felt it,
correct.
and you.
Correct.
My
yes.
guy.
Actually, another true story. There's a dude that comes in my stream, that's been in my streams all the time. His name is Embrace. I met him in person at that show. He was there. He can vouch for me. So I sat outside on the on like the bench, and Anthony, the singer, came by. He was like, dude, are you okay? And I was like, I need to go to the hospital, and I need to go to the hospital now.
Oh my God.
And he's like, are you serious? I'm like, I need you to take me to the hospital. Please find someone to take. Like, I was like calm, nervous.
Yeah.
I'm like, please, somebody take me to the hospital. Like, we have to go now. Please, Anthony. Please find someone. They took me to the hospital. They gave me like an X-ray of my ribs. They couldn't find anything. They gave me a sonogram, and they gave me a sonogram on my side. And he was like, "Oh, yeah, your rib's broken." I was like, "I know. I can feel it. Something's wrong with me." He's like, "Yeah. You have a broken rib." And then I had one more show with them, and I sat in the chair like this on the side of the stage at the show, because my flight wasn't until like another day. And then I remember going to the airport and giving them all the medical paperwork, like so they can wheelchair me around. And I had to fly home with a broken rib. It hurt to laugh. It hurt to sneeze. Like, it was miserable. But those are the three worst injuries. Not in any order, but those are the three worst injuries I've ever had.
That's brutal. I'm thankful that it was never any, especially that one getting sucker punched. That can be real bad.
Yeah, that fucking sucked, dude.
Yeah, but I'm thankful it wasn't anything worse. You've healed up okay. You're still looking handsome as ever. You're doing okay.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, and now I actually one more question regarding music, because I think this is an interesting one. I'm not going to ask for a favorite song, even as somebody who appreciates music as much as I do as well. I know that's probably too hard to answer, but I'm curious, for you personally, is there like across music you've listened to throughout your entire life, is there like a particular lyric line that like has stuck with you, or like you go back to times that really just means a lot, like one in particular? I think that's an interesting question.
Oh my God, there's like 1,000. So honestly, the first one, there's a lot. There's
sure,
like
I'm sure
12,
I feel that way too. Yeah,
12 just went through my head. But if there is one that actually really sticks with oh, fuck.
I'm sorry, man. You know, I told you before this started, this is going to be a real casual thing. Nothing too serious.
All right. So I'm just probably gonna say, so there's two off like from the same band, and one that like has always stuck with me for a very long time. It's from a band called Misery Signals. So they have a song called "The Summer Ended in June" on their album. They're like most well known. Anyway, in that song, The Year Summer Ended in June, he says the line, he says, "You are with me, always with me." And the song is about a band he was with when they were on tour. They got into a car accident, and one of the band members died. Okay. On tour in the car accident. Yeah. So, you know, I lost my mom years ago, and like that was just that line in that song. Now, dude, there are thousands of music. I could tell you 13 more line, but the first one that came into my head, I'm just gonna give you the first one. And it's a line like he says, "You are with me, always with me," and that's something that like like no matter what, whenever I hear that song, like my whole body changes. Everything everything changes. It's very crazy. But that again. There's a ton, but that's the first one that popped in my head, so I'm just gonna say that one.
No, first of all, that's a beautiful thing. I always find that really interesting. You know, there are some people that like, and I frankly don't really get it, but there are some people like when they listen to music, they don't like. There's not really a deeper connection. They appreciate it like sonically, like how it sounds, right? But there are some people that like just don't find meaning in it further than that, which is fine. It's a little strange to me, but I totally understand that sentiment of like, there are just certain like lines that you hear that it gives you chills. It like gives you this warm, tingly feeling all over. I totally get it. And that's
dude, I can, if we put on the song right, I can name like 10 songs. If I hear right now, I'll cry like off rip.
Oh hell yeah! Yep.
I'll just get this weird bodily like it's hard to explain, but I attach to music so much. Like it's not even funny. It's not even a joke. Like it's probably one of the most important things to me is actually music stuff for real.
And again, I think anybody who has like followed you in any capacity, and I hope they'll learn this through this video as well, or through this interview, is like I think that's very evident. And so it's obviously that's something that you like to share about yourself. You know, you like being able to connect with other people in that way. I think that's really cool. Okay, so now let's get back into fighting game stuff. Now, we do know that this coming weekend, Street Fighter 6 is going to have a second closed beta test. Hopefully, everybody in the chat, you were able to get in. Fingers crossed. That's going to be starting, I think, actually, like, early tonight, right? Like 3 a.m. Eastern?
Tomorrow morning, 3 a.m. EST, it'll probably be live for us. Most likely. I think that's what it was last time. It actually turned on like around 2 in the morning last time.
Oh shit!
So keep your eyes peeled. If you keep trying to get in early, late, whatever, in the morning, whatever, late tonight, early in the morning, whatever you want to call it. But it'll most likely be up soon. So we have that coming up, and you have decided to try and provide this wonderful opportunity for people to compete. That's something that I think has become more popular, especially during the pandemic, but with other betas that we have had in previous years, that hasn't really been a thing. People organizing these events for people to compete during that, because, you know, everybody wants to lab, right? And everybody wants to stream their impressions, but having the opportunity to actually test your mettle against other people, see how you're doing, and like, sure, it doesn't mean anything, it's just a beta, but providing that kind of entertainment and people like that kind of challenge, you've taken up the mantle now, and you're going to host that alongside Javits, and that's going to be Sunday, correct? Yeah, Sunday at 5 p.m.
Okay, Sunday at 5 p.m. That'll, again, Eastern time, 5 p.m. Eastern time, over on twitch.tv/thisislijoe, correct?
Thank you. Yes, sir.
I got you, homie. So why don't you talk to me a little bit about that? Tell the people, tell the people how many people are going to be in the bracket. Are there any notable names that you've noticed already? And, you know, prize pool, etc.?
Okay, sure. So it really came about, I'll be honest with everyone in this chat, or everyone in general, is that I want to do something in this game. Like, all right, I'm getting old. Let's all be real. I just don't know if this might be my last Street Fighter when you think about it. Not my last Street Fighter.
Damn.
But
those are big words.
No, but listen. When Street Fighter 7 comes out, dude, I'm gonna be like 47 years old.
Bro, you're gonna be 25.
But I just like look, I'm not saying that I'm not gonna play, you know, like I just don't know like what my life is gonna be when I'm 47 years old or 46 years old and Street Fighter 7 comes out. So while I still have this sort of drive to be involved in it,
yes,
I want to do something with this game. Like I want to either am I going to be a player or am I going to do something else? Am I going to do commentary? Am I going to do like hosting stuff? Like, I don't know. I just know that I want one more time to swing the fucking bat as hard as I can and see if I can hit one more home run. Like, just give me one more. So I don't know the capacity of what I'm going to do it in. Again, is it going to be behind the scenes, running events or playing events or hosting events or commentating events, something? I just want to be a part of this game and be a part of the series one more time. Like, one more prominent time. Again, I just don't know. I'm at a point in my life where I don't know if I can play as much as everybody else to be that good. Like, these dudes are fucking incredible in these games now. And they have, and I hate to give like a cop-out excuse, but time is important.
Of course.
Time is important to being good. If you have the time, you can be good. You know what I mean? Obviously, it takes a whole lot of other skill set, not only time, but I don't know if I have that time in my life to be that good. And again, that's why I'm trying to do something like this, where maybe I can establish myself as more of a running events tournament organizer for this game, or maybe I'm hoping that we do well in commentary, because like I do know quite a bit about the game already from, so like I hope that I can provide like really good commentary so people know what the game is about and I can explain it to people so they can understand it. So I'm just trying to make sure that I cover all my bases. So at least maybe one of those three, be it commentary, be it running events, or be it playing, one of those three, I just want to hit this shit one more time out of the park. So that's where the idea of running the event came from, because again, I think it is another avenue for me to solidify myself within the game one more time.
Of course.
But yeah, and then like I run ECT, like me and John Gallagher, Sweet Johnny Cage, ran ECT in 2009. Street Fighter 4, one of the first Street Fighter 4 tournaments on the East Coast was ECT 1. So like I have the knowledge in me to do it and things like that, and I enjoy it. So yeah, where I was just like, screw it, let me run this event. So it is going to be on. Again, I'm sorry for the long backstory, bro.
You're fine.
You know what?
You're fine.
The older I get, the more I sound like my dad, and I fucking hate it.
And I can just imagine him. I can just imagine him just being like, "I told you this would come. It was gonna be like this."
My dad, I'm like, Dad, I don't need the story. Give me the answer. Like, I don't want to hear the story. Shh. Give me the answer. But anyway, so yeah, the event is on Sunday. It's going to be 128-man bracket. It's going to be streamed on twitch.tv. This is Li Joe. 128 bracket. And by the way, the bracket capped in 36 minutes.
That's so crazy.
I posted it at 7 p.m.
Yeah.
It had 128 players at 7:36.
That's so sick. You love to see it.
Dude, it was honestly very, very humbling. Like, I was not expecting that. I figured it would take like a couple of days, like maybe like I was gonna say maybe by like Saturday when everyone's playing the beta. Dude, it capped 128 players in 36 minutes. So I was honestly very humbled by that, dude. I'm like completely honored that people want to play. There is a $500 pop bonus. There is a Matcherino. I'm working on getting some codes for Matcherino too. Okay. So just hope to beef it up. Yeah. I donated my own $500 because I want people to play for something. Like I want to put something on there, because I know if I'm playing, like when I know that there's $500 in the pot, it makes me want to play, and you know what I'm saying. So like, you know, I want people to play for something. So let me toss in this 500. Hopefully with Matcherino we can get it to over $1,000 maybe. So yeah, it would be cool. It starts at 5 p.m. this Sunday. I don't want to give away too many names. I will tell you, I saw Punk, Shine, Nephew, and Knuckle Do.
Oh, that's actually, you bring up an interesting point. You mentioned Nephew. He is on the West Coast. Does that mean that this is open to all of US?
This is NA region, yes. I'm only doing NA region.
Sure.
I don't want to go too crazy. One, it's a beta, so we don't know how it's going to run. And like, I figured just keeping it within NA is a good test. You know, like we'll see how it works. We'll talk to the players. We'll see what we can do. But yeah, I just opened it up for NA. I had people from UK message me.
Damn.
Like, yo, what's up? Like, I'm trying to play. I'm like, dude, like, I just can't do it in good faith of not knowing how the connections are going to work. When the game comes out, maybe we can do it, you know. But for now, since it's a beta, I was like, let me just keep it NA only, and we'll see what happens in the future.
Okay, yeah, that's very, very exciting. Again, that was one of the reasons I wanted to do this interview. Not only are you genuinely like one of the most beloved people in the community and very interesting, but also providing, I mean it, and everybody in the chat would agree.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
But aside from that, like, you have this event coming up for the Street Fighter 6 second closed beta, and again, you mentioned, you know, that you're trying to keep embracing some, like, whatever your role is in the community. So with you putting up your own money, you know, providing your own time and entertainment, bringing on Javits to do commentary and host it, you know, a platform on your channel. It's a very important thing, and in a very important time. You know, we're getting to transition out of Street Fighter 5, getting ready to make sure people are in full swing, a lot of momentum behind as we're switching over to this other game. We'll talk a little bit more about Street Fighter 6, and then we'll get back to Street Fighter 5 before we wrap up the interview. So, we did see recently that Capcom at the Game Awards, they showed off that trailer, showed off Marissa, Manon, JP, and DJ. Now, who among those 4 characters are you most interested in? Who really caught your eye?
So ever since the leak,
I don't know what you're talking about, Joe.
The leak. All right, yeah. Ever since first seeing the characters, for some reason, the characters that immediately caught my attention was actually Marissa, JP, and Aki. I'm not sure if people are familiar with Aki, but she looks like. Apparently, she's like a Fang type character. She looks really cool. So off of a visual standpoint, JP, Aki, and Marissa are the 3 characters that I'm like, they look kind of cool.
Yeah.
After seeing Marissa's play, I need to see her buttons. I'm a big button guy. Like, I want to see a crouch medium kick. I want to see a jab. Like, I need to see some buttons, not just like move into special move and a super.
Right.
So, but Marissa, JP, and Aki are probably the 3 that I'm most interested in. After that, it's probably Akuma.
Oh my dude, bro! I gotta give you a hug right now.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know why, but I'm kind of interested in Akuma. Just knowing how Street Fighter 6 plays, like if you give Akuma some of those tools, like we got a problem.
Yeah.
We got a problem.
And we do know that Capcom has a penchant to kind of release him in a pretty strong state. He's normally pretty good when he first comes out. Yeah,
it's usually pretty damn good. So we'll see. But yeah, those 3. But off the trailer, certainly JP and Marissa. Now that JP's video was released last night, I think, or something like that.
Yes.
After seeing JP's video, I'm more in tune to JP than Marissa at this point. Yeah. But those are the 2 characters as of now that we know are coming out that I'm really interested in for sure.
Okay. Yeah, I think so. The character out of the 4 that they showed off, Manon, until Akuma comes out, is the character I'm most interested in. But JP looked super cool. And
yeah, he looks cool.
Seemingly, you know, somebody in my chat the other day mentioned this theory. If you pay attention, one, you know, he's got the psycho powers, right? We know that.
Really has psycho power, yeah.
And if you look at some of his special moves, you can see kind of this red and black figure mixed in with the purple. This seems to maybe be some sort of like, almost like an incantation of like Bison's spirit. You can kind of see a silhouette, right?
Yeah, I've seen a couple people say that. It kind of looks Bison-ish in it. Yeah,
and so somebody in my chat mentioned that, like, if you pay attention also to what he says when they show off the trailer, he said something to the effect of like he was obsessed with finding the perfect vessel for his body, talking about Bison. Thinking that maybe he was like Bison's teacher. Maybe. And I had never thought of that, but I think that's so interesting. That'd be so cool to get a glimpse, because for so long we've only just known him as like he's the big bad guy. He's the one behind the shadows, right? It's a very interesting idea.
Yeah, no, I like it. And possible too.
Yeah. Now, that being said, we do know that the beta is not going to, well, I guess we don't know for sure. They could be pulling the wool over our eyes, but presumably the beta is not going to include those 4 characters. It's going to be the same characters from the first beta. And I believe, if I remember correctly, like watching the stream that you guys had, where like Capcom gave you access to the build, I think you spent a lot of time with Jamie and Ryu, right?
Yeah.
Is that correct? Do you plan on maybe checking out a different character this time around, or do you want to stick with them and try and refine that?
Probably, if I want to do well, like there's a lot of tournaments going on, I think Ryu would probably be the best bet, just because fundamentally speaking, like you kind of know how to play Ryu. But I do want to mess with Kim a little bit.
Oh,
Kimberly.
Okay, cool.
Just because it's not very me, you know what I mean? Like it's not something that I am usually drawn to, but just to kind of think outside of my realm a little bit and put my brain on like a different kind of thought pattern when playing a character. So probably Ryu and Kimberly would be my 2 characters for this beta.
Okay, yeah, that's interestingly enough, that's who I am eyeing right now as well. And maybe Jamie, we'll see, but I actually, weirdly enough, like they gave Ryu some sauce. I think that boy looks sick. what he's able to do with Drive Rush and, you know, the Denjin install. I think it's super cool. Now, one more question before we get back to Street Fighter V, and then again we'll wrap up the interview. With Street Fighter 6 on the horizon, comes out June 2nd of next year. You got the beta coming up. You, as somebody who has been around the scene since its very inception, and you have reached some of the highest heights you can. Short of qualifying for Capcom Cup or winning Capcom Cup, you've placed top 8 at EVO, you've won majors, you actually, like, you have a history of being one of the very best players when the game first comes out. You know, you go super hard. You won Street Fighter V, I think literally the very first major tournament for it. And I think that might have been the case for Street Fighter 4 as well.
I don't remember 4, but certainly 5. I did win like the first couple of majors over here for 5.
So you are a player who, you know what it takes to play at that level, to compete amongst the best. You have this very natural talent for figuring out, you know, games at, I think at the very least, like at a very base level, to get an advantage over people that might be caught up in, you know, like the stuff that doesn't matter quite as much early on.
Yeah.
So for players that are hoping to get into Street Fighter 6 as maybe their first fighting game or their first Street Fighter entry, is there any advice that you could give them of like, this is where you should start? You know, don't get caught up in the minutia of like, you know, worrying about frame data, like super close, or like setups or whatever. Where would you guide them if you're trying to help somebody get into it?
I mean, if you have a player that's absolutely clean fresh, like this is my first fighting game, like this is really the first one I've ever played, like the first thing I would say is figure out how to get yourself comfortable. Do you want to play on a stick? You want to play on a pad? You want to play on a hitbox? Like, first figure that out. Are you, you know, like, do you normally play on a controller? Don't listen to anybody else. I don't give a shit what you see on Twitter or anywhere else. I don't care. Pick it up. If you have access to it, give it a shot. Like, find your comfortability. Like, I think that's very, very, very important to find out your own comfortability. And besides that, it's like the first thing you really have to learn is having the dexterity to make your brain do what your hands want to do. You know, like if you want to be able to do, and again, I'm talking on a super basic level, like you would have to learn how to be like, yo, I want to throw a fireball at this distance and do a dragon punch at this distance, but not only know how to do it, understand why you do it in the spots you do it in. Like, so you have to be like, all right, if I'm at this distance, this is why. Why am I trying to throw a fireball when I'm right in front of somebody? No, it's not how it works. You know what I mean? Like you, and again, I'm talking to someone that has no idea what the heck that they're doing, which you know is possible. I'm sure there's going to be tons of people that have no idea what Street Fighter is come June 2nd, and that are going to be playing. So like you really have to understand like what you're doing and why you want to do it. Like that's a very basic fundamental thing. Is making your hands do what your brain wants to do. And then understanding the actual reason why you're doing it. Again, you're not trying to throw a fireball in front of somebody's face, and you're not trying to do a tatsu half screen away. Like it's not how it works. Like give them an understanding as to why these things are important. You know, like this is why Chun-Li has good buttons. Like when you're here, this is the button you want to press.
Of
like
course.
You don't want to do this when you're in front of somebody. There's no reason to. That's when you use a button like this, and not this one. Like you really have to help them understand like why characters have tools that they have, and then again to get their dexterity up, so their brains, when their brains tell their hands to do it, it comes out on the screen. Again, that's super basic, super duper fundamental, but that'll be my first thing.
Okay, you guys heard it here first. If you are somebody that is trying to get into Street Fighter, you know, hoping to hit the ground running with Street Fighter 6, I think those are really, really great starting points, again, to really help you understand, like he said, on a fundamental level. And you're hearing it from somebody who has proven himself. This isn't just a random Joe Blow bum. This is somebody who is. Bro, you got top 8 at EVO. You are one of the most historic, you know, legacy-driven players in this scene. And anybody could trust you. That's what I'll say. That's what I'll say.
All right. Fair enough.
So now I want to transition over into Street Fighter V. Again, this is before we wrap up the interview.
I don't mean to cut you off. Can I say one more thing?
Yes, of course.
If you want to get good, watch, listen, read, stream. Like there are resources up the ass. Ask people, go into streams, go to YouTube, watch matches. Like use the resources that you have that us old timers didn't have in 1999. But no, for real, like learn about it, read about it, ask questions. Like Twitter, as toxic as that place could be, and I love how shitty it is, honestly. It's very entertaining. But like, ask people will help you. You know, go to people's things that are playing. If they're half decent people, they will understand how important those people are. There's nobody. You starting to play this game is way more important than I am at this point in the FGC. Like,
that's real talk.
That is the realest shit I said this whole interview. You people, and I shouldn't say you people. That sounds really bad. Any of you guys that wants to play, that doesn't play, you coming into the scene is more important than I could ever be at this point. Like, you guys are the future of what we're doing. My shit's almost done, man. I got maybe one more game in me. My shit's almost done. But for real, I really want you guys to understand that you are the future, not me. You are the future. So learn, be about it, read about it. Go into streams, ask, watch YouTube videos. There's tons of resources. Just use it. Sorry to cut you off. It popped in my head and I wanted to say it.
Honestly, you said it better than I ever could. And that's, I think, a really great transitional point, right? Because we're talking about people getting into the scene and we're talking about people starting their journey. Now, you've been playing fighting games for the better part of 25 years now and competing in them probably for the better part of 15 to 20. And with Street Fighter V, like I had touched on earlier, you saw perhaps the highest peak that you've seen so far in fighting games. You reached the top of the mountain. You didn't quite seal the deal, but you got top 8 in what was truly an inspiring, heroic journey. You know, there of course is the footage of your dad getting flown out over the weekend to come support you. You know, him getting lifted up by sweet Johnny Cage to celebrate you. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing. And so a lot of people can like look up to that and hope to maybe achieve something like that. Now, not everybody can. There's just not, logistically doesn't add up. But somebody could be that next L.I. Joe that is getting, you know, cheers and applause in the stadium and having the spotlight on them and reaching that pinnacle and proving themselves to all these people. Now, Street Fighter V was, again, that game for you. Would you mind like just talking a bit about like what your journey was like for Street Fighter V? Like when the game first came out, and then again in the first year, that's when you got top 8 at Evo.
Sure.
How was your reception to the game? And you know, I know you can also hopefully talk a bit about the people you were training with, because if I remember correctly too, like the LI boys were going hard on that game. So let's talk a little bit about that.
Oh yes. So I remember back when the game was being announced, like this was something that started before the game was out. When I knew the game was going to be at E3, I actually flew to California, didn't really have a place to stay. I'm not kidding. I flew to California. I didn't have a place to stay the first night. I went to the convention center at 5 o'clock in the morning. I didn't have a place to stay. And I sat on the bus terminal in front of the convention center, and I just thought that I came all the way here for one reason and one game. I really came all the way here just for Street Fighter V. And like it was in my head the entire time, and I was sitting there for the doors. Doors didn't open till like 2 p.m. by the way.
Jesus Christ,
so
you're a madman.
5 in the morning in the dark, and I had nowhere to go and nothing to do, and I just sat there with the bag, and I'm like, well, this is what I'm here for, so let's figure it out. When I played at E3, I actually wasn't a huge fan of it, but I was like, okay, this is cool. It's not, I'm not insane about it. I do think, by the way, caveat, I do think that Street Fighter V is actually a pretty good game, especially now. Even though I don't play it, I think its current iteration is pretty good. Little caveat, sorry. But yeah, this was a thing like before the game came out, man. When I remember telling my girlfriend at the time, I was like, I'm telling you right now, like, I just want to give you a fair warning. Like, when this game comes out, for the first 6 months or something, this is going to be all that I do. Like,
you gotta understand.
Like, you're either like, I don't, it doesn't matter if you don't get it. And it's not that I don't care. It's not that I don't care, but it's like, this is important to me. Like, this happens. How many times have I, let's count, how many times in my lifetime, when I was knowledgeable of fighting games, have I got to play or watch a Street Fighter come out? I watched Street Fighter 3 come out. I'm gonna start at 3. It happened to me 3 times in my life that I got to witness a new Street Fighter game come out. So it's a big deal. Like, it really is a big fucking deal. It's, you know, to us that care about it, it's not like a new Madden that comes out every year.
It's way different.
this is 6-7 years in the making that you're thinking about the chance when you get that feeling that the game is new and fresh. It doesn't happen all the time. Think about that. In your lifetime, you're going to probably play 4 new Street Fighters. Like maybe, you know,
Damn.
4. 4 is not a lot when you think about what you've done in your life.
Right.
So point is, I remember telling her, like, this is all that I'm going to do. And I need you to understand that. And I'm sorry.
Them's the breaks, kid.
Yeah, I'm sorry. So like we played a lot, and the reason why I was good in that game is because my circle was just as good.
Yeah,
like we played so much, dude, it's not even funny. One love to Brad, Marv, Diego, Angel. Like, we played this game like you would not believe. It was what we did. Like, it was like, it wasn't even a thought. It was like every Friday they're at the house. I used to work on Saturday sometimes. I used to go to sleep, wake up, they'd be playing. I would leave the house.
So godlike.
I would leave them in my house. Not even kidding. I'd leave them in the crib. I would come home. The game would still be on. One dude, Angel's on the floor sleeping. Diego's like on my bed. Marv is in training mode. And I'd be like, yo, wake up. Let's go. Then they would get up. We'd eat something. We would play. I'd fucking be making pancakes at 6 o'clock in the morning. I'm not kidding, dude. It was the grind was crazy. We went to, like, when the game came out, we actually were talking about this the other day. We went to probably like 4 tournaments a week. Went to them. We went to like Bums tournament. Then we went to NLBC. Then we went to some other tournament in Brooklyn. Like, we went everywhere. But again, I think I owe them. They're part of me making top 8 just as much as everything else would be making top 8. Because if it was not for these dudes that I was playing every day, like, I would not have been able to do that. I wouldn't have had the brain power to do it. I wouldn't have had the knowledge or like the hand execution. Like, it was a serious. I was reading about it. If I wasn't reading about it, I was watching it. Dude, I was listening to Bruce Lee interviews on the way to tournament.
That's so sick. I love that.
I remember looking out the window, just listening to Bruce Lee. Like,
that is some 80s like action or not like 80s training montage shit. I love that.
That is a true ass story. That is a true story. This is also a true story. I'm a huge Star Wars fan. As you can see, Luke's lightsaber is right behind me. I used to not watch, true story, on the way to tournaments. I used to listen to the fight of Return of Empire Strikes Back. Just listen to it. Bro. Not watching it, in the car with my headphones in, listening to the fight to Vader versus Luke in Empire Strikes Back. Because I was like, I'm going to overcome. I'm going to do this. I'm going to win. That's how, like, I was a fucking psycho, dude.
No, that's godlike. That's godlike.
I was a legit psycho. Like, for real. I just wanted to win, and I wanted it. And I don't remember wanting something that bad in a long time. And it took a little bit throughout the year of Street Fighter 5. I mean, I did it the first year, but it was a lot, dude. Like I said, if I wasn't playing it, I was watching it. If I wasn't watching it, I was reading about it, and it paid off, I guess.
I think it paid off in just about the biggest way possible. Again, that is something that anybody who saw that top 8 or has subsequently seen it, whether it was live or afterwards, they'll remember for as long as they play Street Fighter. It was truly an inspirational thing, a beautiful journey. And you know, I think about, this is a bit of a personal interaction. I don't know if you remember, in 2015, the last year of Ultra Street Fighter 4, that was my very first major. I went there, I guess that's technically not true. I did go to Seasons Beatings in 2012, but I didn't compete. I just went there to go watch. Nice. Had a great time. And unfortunately, that was the last year of Seasons Beatings. But EVO 2015 was my first major, last year of Ultra Street Fighter 4, you know, getting ready to usher in Street Fighter 5, huge release. And that was my, again, first time traveling by myself, and it was a huge year. There were nearly 3,000 people that had entered Street Fighter 4 that year. That was a big crazy. And I wanted to connect with people, but like I didn't know anybody in the scene. And so I think Markman had made a thread that was like basically like trying to get people like, hey, if you're coming to EVO, let's like try and get people to hang out and link up. So it's like a place for people to be like, hey, I'm here. Do you guys want to hang out? Whatever. Yeah. And so I saw that thread and I tweeted in there, and none other than a Long Island Joe happened to see this and was like, yo, dude, you guys, you can come hang out with us down by the pool. And I had never met you before. I'd never met anybody in the FGC before. And so you just being this super, I could have been a serial killer. I wasn't. But you extended this invitation. I got to go me and my homie Garrow, shout outs to him. We got to go hang out with you guys, pal around. I
actually do remember this. Was Diego there too?
Yes, Diego, Marv, Angel.
I remember this. I remember this. Yeah.
And so yeah, we
were
hung
eating.
Up, yes.
Did we not eat? Yep.
Yes, I think we went to, it's like Johnny Rockets, I think.
Yes, I remember this. I remember this clear as day. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like that stuck with me, and it was this great impression of like what. You know, oftentimes you'll hear, don't meet your heroes, right? You know, because you'll find out that they can be shitty people. They're not who they seem to be. Yeah. And it's not a one-to-one comparison to a celebrity in the FGC, but like somebody that I've watched and looked up to, getting that opportunity to meet you, and it was such a good and you treated me like a homie. Like obviously, you know, we weren't best friends, but you treated me like a homie, and you were cordial and like hung around and had a good time. And that's something that's stuck with me literally ever since. I tell that story to like people that are getting into the FGC.
Thanks, dude.
No, thank you. Thank you. Seriously. It's because of you that I, like, not entirely because of you, but you are a big part of why I still feel so indebted to this scene and so drawn to it. So thank you for that. Sincerely.
No, dude, thank you very, like, that means a lot to me, because like I pride myself of just trying to, I don't want to say I try to do the right thing, because it's not like I don't want to do the right thing. I don't have to try to do it. That sounds weird, like you don't want to do the right thing. It's just like this is like the biggest thing in my life is, honestly, and it might sound stupid, but it's video games. Sure. Like almost everything I've done, the people I've met, my best friends, the world that I've seen, the relationships that I've had with people, and like romantic relationships, like a lot of it is really because I play a fucking video game. You know what I mean? And like that, to be able to like have to make someone else feel like how important this is, like that's important to me, you know. Like my biggest thing, I know it sounds cheesy, but it's like I'm just trying to drop all these pebbles in the pond of the world and just have it spread out. Like that's really what I think about, like is just having more people understand that, you know what, like this isn't like this. Like people, not everyone is this shitty. Right. Not the scene is not that toxic. Right. The shit is not really like, unfortunately, all the bad stuff is just, it's life though, dude. I was actually talking about this at work. When you go to, I'm just gonna say like a fast food joint, and the lady behind the desk or the person behind the desk just gives you a shitty attitude, I want to be like, yo, dude, I was at McDonald's yesterday and this girl behind the counter gave me the fucking biggest attitude. You always talk about the negative thing. You're not gonna be like, yo, dude, I went to McDonald's and this girl, the dude behind the counter, was so cool. Like you always want to share the negative, because people just, unfortunately, people feed off that. It's a human thing that we just cling to sometimes. So I try to like have people understand that, dude, it's not always like that, and not everybody's like that, and the scene is not really as shitty as what you might read on a shitty Reddit thread. Like it's not, you know what I mean? Like I think that it's part of my responsibility as, you know, like caring about the scene and caring about where this place goes, to show people that, dude, you are welcome here. Like someone in the Discord chat yesterday about the tournament that we were talking about earlier said something along the lines like I don't know if I belong here, but I'm here. And I was like, yo, time out.
Let me set this straight.
I was like, wait, cut that chatter off right now, because you belong here as much as anybody else does. If you're here to play and support, I don't care if you're good, I don't care if you suck, I don't care if you never played a video game before in your life, I don't care if you, it doesn't matter. Like once you're here and you support it, that's it. You're in it. There's nothing else about it. You're a part of it. All you have to do is care and support it. And again, I think it's a lot of my responsibility to do that, because I do care and I want to support it, and I want you to care and everybody else to make this place be better. And if you're shitty, you don't do anything good for yourself or the scene. Like, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing? Like, you're not doing, even if you are shitty, try not to be shitty when you're representing something that you care about. Try not to be, you know?
I again could not have said it better myself. Thank you so much for coming on today, Joe. Truly, it means a lot. I think this interview went great. I hope you feel the same way.
Oh, no, shit, yeah, man. Thank you, dude. Thank you very much for having me be your first guest, man. I appreciate it, for real, honestly. Thank you.
So before I do get you out of here, I talked about this earlier. I have kind of a gimmick that I'm trying to run for this series. And it's, so I don't know. I am a huge Carly Rae Jepsen fan. She is my #1 artist. I love her to death.
Nice.
And so the promo that I had, shout outs to Drew Face, He is the guy who helped me with that. He absolutely nailed my vision. But the promo is reminiscent of her album cover Emotion, which was like the first album by her I heard, fell in love with it, and that's what's got me on board. And so the promo that I have, again, that we saw the picture with you on there, that is inspired by that. So there is music tied in this. I asked you musical questions. So something I wanted to do for each episode is ask each guest what their top 5 right now, like, songs are that they can't stop listening to. Can't get it out of your head. It's on your Spotify. Whatever it is, the top 5 songs right now, so that hopefully we can share that with the audience, and they can kind of get a peek inside, like, you and what you're vibing with. So would you mind sharing that?
Cool. Yeah, I probably have like 4 right now, and these are just things that, like, I remember listening to over the past couple of days. I'm like, damn, let's listen again.
So just give me song titles and then bands.
Sure. I'll give you song titles. So the first, I'll give you band and the song title. So the first one is actually a band, great band, one of the greatest musical bands ever. The name of the band is Tool. They're one of the best bands that's ever been created ever. The name of the song is called The Patient. I believe it was on Lateralus, I think. But I was listening to that song the other day, and, like, sometimes, like, I'm a huge Tool fan, like, incredible Tool fan, but I don't listen to all their stuff. It's like everything. Like, you listen to an album here, then you'll listen to an album there. And I was like, let me revisit this album. And I forgot how much I loved that song. And I remember hearing it, and I listened to it, like, every day driving to or home from work for the past, like, week or so.
Oh, damn. Okay.
So, so Tool, the song is called The Patient. I don't know why, but recently I've been getting back into MF Doom, so I've been listening to Doomsday, like, on repeat. I love that song, so I've been listening to R.I.P. to MF Doom, but I've been listening to Doomsday from him. A Vane song called Lights Out, that's on their newer album. I just, like, this song, just, I don't know how to explain it, but I feel like, and again, because I know these guys, like, I know them, there's just something about, like, the lyrics in that song. It's probably it's easily the most aggressive song on this list right now is the Vane song called Lights Out. That song, just, again, the lyrics, just, I feel like and I know that people say, like, I've done a lot, but even, like, my life, I feel like I could have always have done better. And there's a lot of lines in the song that's about, like, letting yourself down, like, you could have done better, and that just it just sticks in my head. It sticks in my head. It's one of my favorite songs that they've ever written, actually. And the other song, and this is because it's raining, whenever it gets doom and gloomy, I always listen to a Silent Hill soundtrack. I love Silent Hill. So I was just listening to On the Way, my favorite song of the Silent Hill 2, which is also one of my favorite games ever made. The Silent Hill 2 soundtrack. The song is called The Theme of Laura Reprise, though, not The Theme of Laura Reprise. That's my favorite song from the Silent Hill 2 OST. So that's 4 that I got. I can't really think of a 5th one, but those are the ones that was like this song, this song, this song. Like, I'd have to think about it. So I don't have a 5th one, but certainly that's like a good 4 that I've been jamming out to this week.
That's perfect. That's perfect. Okay, so again, guys, what I'll do is, once this goes up on YouTube, I will actually make a Spotify playlist or a YouTube playlist, whichever works out, and link that in the description. I'm gonna do that for every episode. Again, the whole idea behind this is to give you guys a sneak peek into what he's vibing to, and just to help connect with him on a more personal level. So again, that's gonna be it for the interview. So thank you again so much, Joe. Sincerely, from the bottom of my heart, it means a lot.
Dude. Thank you. I do just want to say to everybody in the chat, like, I'm there. I do have a Twitter. Like, if anyone wants to talk or chill or needs help, like, I try my best to answer everybody and like converse with people, especially if you ask me a question. If people just, like, say something, sometimes I'll miss it. But if someone has a genuine, like, hey, Joe, blah, 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 like, I'm always down to talk and try and help people out. So you can always hit me up. You know, again, we're going to run the tournament, so come hang out with us during the tournament. But I just want you guys to know out there that are watching that if you need anything FGC wise or anything at all, I'm very, very available. Very available.
Yeah, if you wouldn't mind, actually, before we get out of here, would you hit the people with your Twitter and Twitch so they know where to watch?
Sure. The Twitch is This Is Li Joe, and the Twitter is also This Is Li Joe. So this is Li Joe, no spaces, right there. You will certainly find me. So
all right. Perfect. I will let you get out of here. I've taken up enough of your time, so thank you again so much, Joe. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your evening.
Thank you, dude.
And we will be sure to tune in on Sunday. Have a great rest of your night.
Later, guys.